Good evening.
Hello.
Good evening. How the devil art thou?
Hey, Nick.
How you doing? You all right?
Hey, guys.
Not bad, not bad. And to everybody out there, Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, hey, we're on the malt and the can of whatever that is.
You don't want to know. It's evil. It's just pure evil in a can. That's all I drink nowadays.
Oh, that's I would expect nothing less, to be honest. So yeah, we've not done this for a wee while. This is the first horror show of the new year with special guest star Nick from London Gothic.
Yeah.
Hey, Nick.
Yeah. I wouldn't say it was so special, but there you go.
Oh no, not at all. Yeah, there's all kinds of special in this world, Nick.
What you can get for a couple of quid worth of luncheon vouchers on the show.
Right, so we're here to talk about folk horror, or pagan horror, as I called it, because I thought that would be better for the algorithm. There's a lot of it about, you know,
and it just sounds cooler.
It does sound cooler, and I thought it also kind of narrows it down a little bit because we'll get into this when we talk about it. But some people could take folk horror to encompass just about everything. So
yes, pretty much.
I found that out in the last week or two. But yeah, before we get going, we'll quickly go over just exactly who we are, what we've been working on, in case there's anybody that is watching this that doesn't know us, which is always nice when that happens. I forgot to set up the stream for Twitch, so that one viewer on Twitch is not going to see us tonight. But we are on Facebook.
That could be the one that counts, mate.
It could be. Yeah. What can you do?
Guillermo del Toro sitting there watching us, waiting for our book.
I know, thinking, where's Wullie with his bunny ear headphones? Right, but we have this. Now we have this wonderful moment where I have to try and remember how to do stuff. First thing I want to do is, he was here first, so we're going to say hello to Not My Monkeys, Not My Circus.
Oh, Not My Monkeys. How the devil art thou?
Yeah, in fact, because the way it works, I think you were actually here weeks ago when they first set up this stream. Because I'm pretty sure you put first in then as well. So yeah, you're definitely here first.
He's been here since last year, waiting for this moment.
Yeah.
He's got some stamina.
He does indeed. It's the amount of alcohol that he drinks. I think that's what does it. And second, Hyperkaiju. Hello,
Hyperkaiju.
It's not just second, but he's shouting second. And Pete, good evening, sir.
How the devil art thou?
Yeah. So that's and howdy, Kim.
Hey, Kim.
Hi, you mate.
Right. Oh, so that's us. We're rocking and rolling, as it were. So I shall now share something. Did I do this again? They kind of changed StreamYard. It actually works a lot better now. Oh, that's the one. There we go. Look at that. Fantastic.
Oh, Shaka Kapow.
Yeah. So Nick has this fantastic graphic novel. Anybody who watched the interview that I did with him, which was great, will already know about it. And you can always go back after watching this and you can find that interview on the channel. It's dead easy to find. And you can subscribe to the channel and you can like everything. Just go in and like everything.
Please.
Yeah. This is London Gothic. Give us the quick elevator pitch, Nick, as to what London Gothic is, and I shall click on things when we do that.
Very briefly, it's two rival brotherhoods, good and evil, fighting over some holy relics from Jesus Christ. And we've got a demonic order and a shoot off from the Tutori. From the they're Tutori. I've bloody lost the plot now, mate. Every time someone asks me to describe it, I'm absolute shit. I don't even know why they asked me to describe it. Anything
See,
you
when you
want, you can read it on now.
Yeah, anyway, there's 20 pages, so you can read that and see if it's your thing, and then you can kind of get into it.
It's all to do with shoot-offs from the Knights Templar and Victorian London. Lots of demons, lots of gore, quite disturbing. And
Quite disturbing. Yeah.
4 chapters. First one's out now. We're working on the second one, which is being illustrated, and we've got a Pete Gilmore cover.
Ooh.
Nice.
So that'll be. I'm just waiting to see when I stick it out on the social media, the Pete Gilmore cover, but it is coming, and yeah, it's doing all right so far. We seem to have some good reviews and bits and pieces.
Yeah.
On the website there's a big list as well of all the Comic Cons that we've booked into at the moment for next year or for this year now. And some of them are with that wonderful man sitting in the middle up there.
Hello, darlings.
He's going to hopefully be at the table next to me, because that's going to be a real.
Oh, it's going to be a scream. Let me tell you.
Funny, yeah.
There's gonna be some great photos that I will use for blackmail. It'll be amazing.
You won't be the first, darling.
Right. Well, on that note, thanks for that, Nick. That's London Gothic. Like you say, all the information's on the webpage. The link is down below on the video on YouTube here, and you can click straight through to it.
And there's a 20% off voucher. Just ends midnight tonight. If anyone wants it, it works out quite well if you're in the UK.
Right. Excellent.
So yeah, you save a bit of money, and it, like I say, it ends midnight. It's on Twitter, it's on the Facebook. I think the voucher code. Get on there and have a go at it.
Okay, excellent. And you'll be able to get to Twitter and the Facebook from the webpage. Is that?
Yeah.
So,
we're at London Gothic on there anyway. So yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, get that voucher. Okay. Cheers. Ed Gein's doing well.
It is. It's getting there slowly but surely. We've got till January 16th to get this thing funded. And we better get it funded, because all 4 issues, they're ready. They're ready to rock and roll. We got issue 1 right here. Don't know how well you can see that, because my lighting isn't exactly the best for this sort of thing. But we've got issue 2 as well, issue 3, and the long-awaited issue 4. They're all in print, ready to rock and roll. Look at that. Just great stuff with wonderful artwork from Christian Rossi. You can't go wrong. You just can't go wrong. If you like your serial killers, you like your adventure horror, you like chainsaws, this is the book for you.
Yeah, it looks incredible.
It's bloody awesome. I can't wait to get my T-shirt as well.
Oh yes, I've got it put to one side for you. Don't you worry. And if you're unsure about Ed Gein, you can always go to my website, luciferstorm.com, and if you sign up to the mailing list, you get a digital copy of the first issue for free.
Ooh, do that. Once you do that, you will buy the physical issue. I guarantee it, because it's excellent. Yes. Cool. So that's a very professional-looking website.
Yeah. Well, he's so handsome, isn't he? He just makes me sick.
Yeah. Anyway, that's enough of Lucifer.
Yes, don't pander to my ego. My ego's a prick.
So, you can also find a link down there for his webpage and straight to the Indiegogo campaign as well. And a link to my webpage here, where you can Jings, that's awfully quick at moving. Where you'll find what's coming up on the show here, and you'll be able to click through to any kind of mailing lists or anything that I've got going. And also you can buy stuff that magically appears on Redbubble and TeePublic items. Good stuff. Nice. The Tatty Bogo Man, Tales of Mystery and Imagination, still got the sign-up mailing list going. That was all shadow banned. There was a lot of people shadow banned, and that was one of them. That was shadow banned. I think people couldn't find it. But once I freed up the funds from Ailsa Dark, which is almost ready to go, miraculously a lot of people were able to sign up for it. So I don't know, some weird things going on with Indiegogo. So if you haven't signed up for it, please do. It's a cracking campaign. It's ready to go as well. It's all completely finished and ready to go at some point. and it's an old school horror anthology comic, and that's all. I'm not going to say anymore. That's enough of that. Anybody that's new, that's who we are. That's enough of that rubbish. Right. All our books are great. All our stuff is great. Give it a look. Really. It's all good. Hey, Dave.
Hello, Dave.
All right, Dave. How's it swelling?
Happy New Year to you, mate.
Yeah.
Yes, this is a lovely item I got last year. It's a vintage prosthetic arm for a woman circa 1950. And
guess what he uses it for?
Wow.
Easy, I'll set Jeremy on you.
Mate, everyone was thinking it, I said it.
Right. This is where we're going tonight.
Oh, brilliant. Cheers, Pete. I remember sending it out. I hope you got your little note as well. Thank you, mate. Thanks for buying it. Chapter 2 coming soon.
Yeah. We're going to be doing a Jess Franco show, Lucifer. I'm just letting you know at some point in the future.
Oh, fantastic. I can't wait.
People know why in the chat. We're definitely going to do a Jess Franco show at some point in the future. So I'm just checking it. That's us. That's the chat. So, Caparticus. So happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year.
I try to wish you a happy New Year and what's that thing? Instagram. But I've locked myself out. I know it's supposed to be the same sign in as my Facebook, but I can't actually change over between my Facebook pages right now either. My different pages. I don't know what's going on there. So something weird has happened to my password on Facebook, and I can't get into Instagram. So good to see you, mate. Happy New Year to you. Right, what are we doing again? I know what we're doing. What is folk horror? Right. Or pagan horror. Folk horror. I kind of know what I think it is, but I saw one article recently that I was looking at, and it took folk horror to bring in a lot of stuff. So it brought in anything that was to do with folklore in any country.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to say that's not what it is, but I think in most people's minds, it's generally a very kind of British thing.
The majority of folk does come from the UK. It started here in the UK, and lots of other countries like Thailand and the US, they all started jumping on board, but they've never been able to keep up with us, even with it took like a dive. It disappeared for a bit, and now it's coming back. It's having that resurgence, but still we're the ones that are making the most of it and probably the best of it as well.
Yeah. It has to be set outside. It has to be set in some sort of rural community, I think, to be a folk horror.
Yeah. But that's where we start getting into some like really weird territory, because when we start putting in those limitations, you can say that like that rural setting, you could involve movies like Straw Dogs, but I wouldn't call that folk horror. No. Or you could involve something like Clive Barker's Candyman from '92. That has a lot of the elements of folk horror, but I'd actually say it's more urban gothic than it is folk horror, whereas other people would be like, no, it is folk horror, trust me.
Yeah. I mean, modern day, you're probably looking at the Blair Witch, something like that.
Blair Witch, I would say, is folk horror for sure.
Yeah. So I think when you look at it, some of the early stuff that we're going to probably be looking at is, stuff like The Wicker Man, Straw Dogs, maybe. Yeah, no, that's another one that maybe not be classed as a horror, but it's quite disturbing.
See, I think Straw Dogs to me is a Western.
Yeah.
Probably.
I agree, but you could say the same thing about Witchfinder General. It has a lot of Western elements to it. So it starts becoming difficult the more we start digging into it and going, well, what are the elements that make up folk horror?
Yeah. There is it's quite a wide sort of world of it, isn't it? You know,
it is, especially as like some of the folk horror movies, they seem to be about tradition versus like modernity, and other ones seem to be about a class system.
Yeah,
I mean, I when I was looking into it and thinking this way, as taking it wider, taking it outside of Britain, so you had like a lot of the Japanese stuff, like Kwaidan. Yeah. A lot of their films could definitely be folk horror because they're set in the rural kind of places and they're to do with demons and all this kind of stuff. But they tend to, there's this kind of like link between folk horror and supernatural. And I don't think folk horror actually needs to have a supernatural element to be folk horror.
No, I agree.
So you could even look at the Seventh Seal from Ingmar Bergman. You could look at something like that and say that's folk horror. You know, it's weird. It's kind of it's a weird thing insofar as like it's more to do, I think, with how the film makes you feel rather than fear. Makes you feel.
Yeah, because there seems to be that big theme of isolation and paranoia. They seem to be the two main themes of most folk horror.
Yeah. Like in The Village, that was another one that was sort of quite modern.
Yeah.
Same sort of thing, you know. Yeah, people cut off little communities. What goes on behind closed doors? In these rural communities.
Yeah. There's
I mean, the main one has got to be like if you're saying folk, what's the first one you think of is the Wicker Man. And,
I think that's the first one that everyone thinks of.
Yeah.
Without a shadow of a doubt. And that one, like, that manages to encompass both like the clash between different classes as well as the clash between religions. But it also includes that clash between like this is the modern world and this is the traditional world or history. In some ways, you could actually say that folk horror is a way of history taking revenge on people in the modern world who have ignored what has happened in the past.
Agree. And also when you mention history, I think myths and legends always come into it as well. With the paganism and bits like that, you know, there's all the myths and legends that surround that. Yeah. So yeah, definitely. I mean, I was watching another one. Well, I haven't watched it lately, but there was another one called Ravenous with Robert Carlyle, funny enough.
Yeah.
And that's basically based on Sawney Bean, the Scottish cannibal. Yeah. Who I've got a particular love for because I can't say too much, but yeah.
Do you want to borrow my arm?
What's but yeah, you know, that was based actually reading about that. It was based on the Sawney Bean story, but just taken to America and they made it with Confederate soldiers. So, you know, the taste for human flesh, it's sort of folk, it's legend, it's myth, it's all that sort of stuff. Yeah. So yeah, I definitely what you say there, Luce. Yeah, definitely, I agree with that.
Yep, I think with Not My Monkeys saying they're a small society as well. They create the best films before going to create a pocket of something. It could be a village, it could be an island like the Wicker Man, or I've got the unholy trinity of folk horror here. It could be like Blood and Satan's Claw, where it's the children. They make this kind of like community because they are possessed, as it were.
It's very protective kind of community that it seems to be like the more that the town, the urban setting starts to creep in, the more protective that they become of the countryside that they have. In a way, you could also say that another element of folk horror is the protection of nature.
Yeah, definitely.
Or you could just say that I'm reading way too much into it.
I think that's right, because in a lot of cases, it's if it's not so much protection of nature, but it is. I watched. Let's jump right forward into. Have you watched the Apostle?
No, that's one that I've got lined up to watch.
What's it about, Wullie?
It's the one that's on net. It's the one that's on net. It's on Netflix, and it's essentially the Wicker Man, but but it's got, what's his name? The Welsh guy Sheen. I'm going to Google it so I can get all the names right.
Yeah.
Right.
I can get the names right.
Martin.
It's directed by. Oh, hang on a minute. That's not it at all. It's directed by the guy who made Raid and Raid 2.
Oh, okay.
You know, the action movies, Gareth Evans. So it's the Welsh director, and he's making this movie, and it's Dan Stevens, and it's he's goes to this island undercover to try and find his sister who has been kidnapped, and there's a ransom. So straight away, kind of Wicker Manish. But in that film, there is supernatural elements, and it kind of like it really connects everything to the land and to the island they're on by the end of the movie. I'm not going to spoil it if anyone hasn't seen it, but it very much is about the land being alive and disrespect for that as a kind of metaphor. It's a very uneven movie. It's not great, but you'll find it really interesting because it touches on a lot of stuff that we like from the 70s kind of horror movies.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
some of the best times.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Best era.
Because I brought that up, the Unholy Trinity, which Blood and Satan's Claw, Witchfinder General, and The Wicker Man are the Unholy Trinity. And it was a film critic and writer that came up with that. And I had his name up earlier, but I had to restart my machine. I don't have it up there. I can't remember. Follow him on.
It wasn't Mark Gatiss, was it?
No. But did anybody get time to watch Blood and Satan's Claw?
Yes, no. I did.
Honestly, no. Because I was watching the football.
All right.
Fair enough.
I have seen it, and when I did my little bit of homework, because otherwise I thought Wullie's going to come down and proper give me a good hiding. I watched it with the missus, and she went, with trailers and stuff on the YouTube, and she went, I wouldn't mind watching that. But I have seen it. It's just I can't honestly remember all of it. But I think when I watched it, I was probably about 7 or 8, and it was quite disturbing at the time. Is there not a rape scene and stuff in it? There's all sorts.
Oh God, yeah, there is.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I'm just checking here, just in case anybody's told me to chat. But Pete's got a post on his watch list. Yeah, it's you enjoy it. Oh
yeah. Midsummer, I haven't seen yet.
Neither have I, but I've heard a lot of people put it into the category of folk horror, and the same with The Witch.
Seen the Witch, yeah.
Witch is good. I would put that into it.
Yeah.
Midsummer as well, but it's not. It's oh God, it's long. I watched it. I put myself through it. I think it's a good film. I'm not sure. I was quite tired.
Was it like? Did you need a long weekend?
Yeah, it was like I did it in one sitting.
With a bank holiday.
Yeah. Adam Scoville, I've just found the guy. That's the guy who came up with the idea. He called these the Unholy Trinity of folk horror. It's actually, I think it's a good film. It kind of didn't do much for me. It's not really a horror film, but then again, a lot of folk horror films aren't really horror films. And it's more about
psychological, isn't it?
Psychological.
Oh yeah, definitely a lot more
relationships, breakups, and all that kind of stuff. And it was quite funny. There was bits. I mean, I'm not saying it's bad. I just think it's long. I don't know if it was director's cut or something, but
you sure you weren't editing it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like it was okay. Kind of like I could see what they were doing with it. I think if I watched it a year from now, went back to it again, I'd probably enjoy it more. I think it was just kind of. I think I was just suffering from folk horror fatigue when I get around to
it. Yeah. Sometimes you got to be in the mood, don't you? It's one of those.
Indeed. Hey, wise guys.
Hey, wise guys.
Hey, how you doing, wise guys? Yeah, you just got to be in the mood, don't you? It's just. Sometimes you can put something on the telly and you think, well, I'm just not in the mood for this. And whatever, if it was good, you'd think it was shit. So it's just.
I think if you've got a good lineup of really good folk horror movies, it's a lot easier to get into them and just get into the flow of them and stuff. It's the moment you get one bad one, you are just thrown straight out, and it's so hard to get back into it again.
I watched it. It was only 2 days ago. I should have watched it a couple of weeks ago. Maybe come back to it a little bit. So I think I'd watched everything up to then. You know, I'd watched all the stuff I knew I wanted to watch, plus one or two things that you know were new to me. And I think I will give it another go, Monkeys. It's not a bad film, that's the thing, and it's kind of it's the sort of film that I generally get into and generally like. I quite like the pace, that kind of paced film, and you know, so on. But for whatever reason,
the only thing that threw me off is being a Doctor Who fan. I was like, Anthony Ainley, Wendy Padbury, hold on, the Master and Zoe, what's going on?
Well, it's not as good as Doctor Who.
I've got no idea what you're talking about, Luce, because I don't.
At least not back then. It's not. I don't know about the present Doctor Who. I gave up on it a long time.
I haven't seen Doctor Who since the Cybermen walked down Lambeth Bridge in the 70s in black and white.
Oh, nice!
Oh, wow! Yeah, keep it that way.
I remember it scaring the shit out of us when we were kids. But then, you know, I can't even remember who the Doctor was. It might have been. Was it Pertwee? He might have been.
I would say Patrick Troughton.
Yeah, in black and white.
Yeah,
Patrick Troughton.
But we had a black and white telly till 1994. We was quite poor, mate.
Well, the other reason I'd say that is because we never had a Cyberman story. But that's not the point. We're folk horror.
Yeah, I was just thinking. I was trying to think. Maybe never had a Cyberman story. He should have had. He'd have been great with Cyberman.
Yes,
He
should have had.
He could have come down with that Venusian kung fu on them, no bother. Totally. Pete's right here, because I was thinking about this as well.
Absolutely.
A lot of the Pertwee and Tom Baker stuff could very much tie in. The demons, especially, something like that, could very much tie into folk horror. Yeah. Also, the first episode of Hammer House of Horror as well. The Witch.
And they did one on Hammer House of Horror, which was brilliant. And it was, I don't know if anyone remembers it, but it was about a couple driving along in a car, and they was driving through some rural part of England, and they went through this mist, and they ended up in this village, and they couldn't get out. I'm sure it's been done as a film now, but it was. I'll tell you, that was pretty scary.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, good segue, because just a wee plug for the channel. In 2 weeks' time, me and Stato will be here talking about selected episodes from Hammer House of Horror.
Nice.
Because it is currently available to watch free on Tubi. Which is how Stato will be watching it. So if you're in the UK, just get a VPN going and you can watch Tubi and you can catch up in Hammer House of Horror. And Dr. Mask's Retro Elixir.
Hello,
good evening to you.
I love that name. I need some of that. Send us some over, Dr. Mask.
Witching time. Yeah. I called it The Witch because I was thinking of the movie The Witch, which is very good. I liked it. I liked The Witch.
Still haven't seen it.
So Blood and Satan's Claw is it was a Tygon, wasn't it? It was a Tygon movie, and they made Witchfinder General as well. But Blood and Satan's Claw is brilliantly 70s. It's got all the kind of stuff you wouldn't be allowed to put in a movie today. It's got the disappointing ending, which is usual for a lot of 70s movies.
They just ran out of money and got pissed.
But I watched it twice. I watched it again with the commentary by the League of Gentlemen. They did a commentary for it.
Oh, nice.
You can. I've got it with the commentary, but you can find the commentary on YouTube if you haven't. Haven't got
wonderful.
And they were like talking about it because they were kind of like us. They'd have watched it when they were kids, you know, and taped it off the telly and had it on VHS and all that kind of stuff. They were pointing out that originally it was meant to be a portmanteau movie, so it was meant to be like 3 different stories that were going to be in the one anthology sort of film, and they were trying to work out where one story what one story would have been and what the other story would have been. And it is odd because when you look at the kind of casting and everything in it as well, there's people there that probably would work really well for like the comedy episode if they ever did. You know, what would the comedy story be in the anthology film, that kind of thing. You've got that the actor that played did the voice of was it Mr. Kipling? He's one of the actors in there, and he's a really good actor. But every time he's in a movie like that, all you hear is Mr. Kipling. Yeah, Mr. Kipling makes exceedingly good cakes. But it's a gorgeous looking film, and everything is filmed on location. And I think the best folk horror movies. My rambling is to get to this point. The best folk horror movies are entirely on location. Because the location becomes part of the feel of the movie, and it gives us. They tend to give it an authenticity, and Blood and Satan's Claw's got that kind of authenticity because it's entirely on location. What were your thoughts on it then when you gave it a watch, Lucifer?
I really enjoyed it. Like you said, it was that thing of like I put it on. And I was sold straight away. I was hooked. I really liked the pacing. I liked where the story was going. And then you got that ending, and it was like, is that it? Really? Yeah. Like, that's a bit... There's a couple of things you haven't answered here. You know? Yeah. But in general, I think out of all of the Unholy Trinity, I think it's the weakest one. I still enjoy it. I still think it's a really good film. I think, especially for anyone who wants to be a visual storyteller, whether it be in film or in comics or whatever, it's a really good one to reference. There are some gorgeous shots. The way the colors work together is absolutely beautiful. One thing that I couldn't help but think during the whole thing was, if you're someone who wants to make like short movies and you're just starting out and you've bought yourself a cheap camera or whatever, folk horror is clearly the best genre to start off with, because you don't need permits. You can do it on a budget of whatever's in your pocket, and you can still create something that's really intense and atmospheric.
In your garden.
Pretty fucking much. It is very atmospheric. It is very intense. It does get under your skin slightly, just not as much as other movies in the genre.
Yeah, I think the one thing that separates it from the other two in this kind of like section is that it does have a supernatural element to it. And that's what it kind of falls down there. Visualization of the supernatural element isn't the best.
See, I think it would have worked better if it was left unspoken on whether the supernatural element was real or imaginary.
Yeah.
I think that would have worked so much better for this movie.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, they went with no, we're going to confirm that it is definitely there. You're going to at least see it once on screen and how it looks. And I think that's what ruined it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they're supposed to play with your head, those films, aren't they? They were always designed. I mean, don't forget, you're talking about the 70s. So whoever's written that's coming out of the 60s, probably a bit high. Few tabs.
What's this probably word?
That's it. It's just giving it that, they're getting that creative juices flowing, and they think, well, we've got to the end, we've run out of puff. What do we do?
You say that. So I'm going to not jump on which things here, because you've said that. I want a quick mention to the Curse of the Crimson Altar.
Yes. Yes, that was one of the ones that I watched leading up to this stream. That
was made by people who weren't on psychedelics, but you would think they were.
Oh God, yes, absolutely. But they shit the bed with that one. There was only one thing I didn't like about that movie, and that's when you've got the lead character walking around the house, Christopher Lee's place, and he goes, "Oh man, it reminds me of a spooky movie. I'm expecting Boris Karloff to come around the corner." And then 3 scenes later, a character's introduced, played by Boris Karloff, and no one says anything. And I was just taken right out the fucking movie at that point.
But you weren't taken out by the opening scene. It's like
no.
I'd forgotten just how bonkers this film was at the start, especially if it was made in the late 60s. It gets away with the kind of stuff you didn't really even see until the 70s in movies.
But that's what it was, mate. Most of them were off their nut, and they was writing these things and getting away with it, weren't they?
And that's what they should return to. Being off their nut and just going, let's fucking throw everything in.
Definitely with some of the shit that's on now. Definitely. They definitely improve it.
Definitely. I'm a big fan of slightly odd party scenes in movies. Like the opening of Dracula AD 1972. Most critics will say it's this terrible 10-minute opening. I'm like, living genius, what a party. This one's party scene as well is right up there. It has a scene where two women get in the shoulders of two guys and then have a fight with paint as they start painting each other while everyone's cheering them on and drinking, and you're like,
but not only that, both hands have got paint in that they're throwing at each other, but they're still trying to drink their champagne.
They're still trying to drink champagne.
And they don't know how to hold the glass and two things of paint whilst they're throwing it at each other and screaming.
And the referee is going, no painting below the waist.
Sponsored by Dulux.
Meanwhile, the hero, they keeps cutting away to the hero who's just kind of standing there, kind of like slightly amused by this with his drink.
Until that woman walks up to him to be like, "Hey, I don't know you," and then she just makes out with him, and he's like, "Hold on, what the hell's going on?"
So it's right up there with just like one of these like crazy
weird
films. Yeah. But it's a folk horror, but it's kind of like
it isn't. It is a folk horror, but it's also close to being a Southern Gothic as well.
Yeah, it's more like that. It's like the Dunwich horror as well. It's like it kind of fits more that kind of space than a folk horror, I would say.
Although saying that, I think like there is that really close connection between Southern Gothic and folk horror. Like it balances like on a very thin line, because once again, it's about that isolation and paranoia and everything being in a very small, secluded sandbox.
Anybody want to take up Monkeys on this?
Well, I think Monkey's right. I
think he's got a fucking good point.
That's actually a piss take of the Wicker Man.
Yep, it is. Yep, I would say. Yep, definitely right there. But I think the word piss take, I put like a wee subsection as a kind of like a satire of or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, very good film, brilliant. I mean, but I think if we got folk horror, it's a bit much.
Yeah. Witchfinder General there.
Yes.
You can't do no wrong for me, can you? Because he's my old mucker, isn't he?
Yeah, it's old Vincent.
Good old Vincent. Bless him in his cotton socks. He does a wonderful, wonderful job. I was reading up about it after I watched it, and apparently it's set on a true story.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, Matthew
Hopkins.
Was a Witchfinder General. Although he wasn't acknowledged by the Crown or the Parliament at the time.
Yeah.
I'm getting a bit nerdy now because I actually know some shit about
it. No, crack on.
Go for it.
He wasn't acknowledged. He said that he was self-proclaimed himself as a Witchfinder General, but he used to make a lot of money at it because he'd go around in any old village, mostly in East Anglia.
Yeah,
Norfolk, Suffolk, and Essex, and that, and he would go around and just go, "Oh, I need some money today, but you're a witch," and then go get some money off the people. I mean, wouldn't we all be at it now? Easy money, isn't it? And I'm married to one.
That's the witch, not a witchfinder.
My missus is a pagan witch, so yeah.
Of course, because you mentioned this. You mentioned this. Yeah. just to go off a tangent here, though. So, how does she feel about these kind of movies? Because in a lot of cases, they're not. The pagans are not. For one thing, it wouldn't be shown in a particularly good light in a lot of cases. How does she feel about watching all these folk horror movies with you? No problem.
Not a problem, mate. Not a problem. No, because it's all fantasy, it's all film, it's all everything. Yeah. And funny enough, with the paganism, it's like an old religion. Yeah. So, she worships, like, tonight is the wolf moon, and like, the candles are on downstairs for the wolf moon and stuff like that. I'm not a witchy person, but yeah, I get to know because she tells me all this, and she knows all the bits about the pagan calendar and things like that. So I'm sure she's looking forward to meeting Luce at one of the events, because she's got a stall, like, you know, she's got a shop that does it, Familiar's Witchcraft it's called, if anyone wants anything.
Sorry, when you said meeting Lucifer, I was thinking of the other guy.
You mean this lovely guy right here?
Believe me, Wullie, she's already met him. He's here.
Here we go. There we go.
Yeah, she's after his lamp. But yeah, so no, she's not bothered at all. Absolutely. When we watch stuff, what she criticizes sometimes is things like we was watching. I was trying to get her to look at some trailers of some old 70s films, because she's a little bit younger than me, so she wasn't born in the 70s. And trying to see, you know, get her involved in all these really good films. And one of them was The Devil Rides Out.
Yes, and I haven't seen that yet.
That's a cracking. So yeah, that'd be me, Pete. Not it was when I turn. Yeah, but so you know, we watched the trailer and it had the pentagram and stuff, and she says, you know, that the pentagram is not really satanic. You know, it's not. It's actually a pagan symbol. You know?
Yeah.
So, but people through the years have made lots of things that are pagan, satanic, because it interests them and it flavors it up for films and books and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm just as guilty. I've got to be honest. So
yeah.
And so she's guilty. So hang up, get the money. Lovely.
Satanism is still a fairly new religion, especially in comparison to paganism. Paganism was even before Christianity. Whereas Satanism, God, when does it date back to? It's like
Satanism
the 60s?
Was that not just like some cheeky sort of like a atheist thing anyway? You know?
Yeah, pretty much.
A way of pushing back for pro-free speech, all that kind of stuff, and pushing back against things. But then again, I think that's what it was, but they kind of split. There's two different strains of Satanism, major strains of Satanism as well.
Yeah. That's pretty much what happens. It's very similar with Wicca. Like that started, especially the more modern witchcraft stuff, that started in the New Forest, which is like about half hour, 45-minute drive from where I am. And then that split off into several different sects and different types of Wicca and different types of religion from there on as well.
Yeah, there's the Buffy the Vampire Wiccans. Because there's a whole lot of people that just latched onto this kind of stuff because,
I think a lot of it's all the same, just little twists on it all.
Yeah.
I mean, exactly. If you said to my missus, you're a Wiccan, she'd probably do her nut. You know, because she's a pagan witch, and they say that they are.
So one true God. The one true God. You go.
So you know, it's that was a joke, guys. Oh, I can see how. Yeah, I can see how.
No, that's understandable.
Yeah, do you know, it can be a bit boring, that film, and also Vincent. He was never the best actor. He was quite camp in his acting, and he never took it seriously. So in all these films you see, he would never have won an Oscar or an award, or nowadays what they call them, the Brits or something, whatever. But he had that right face for the right role, didn't he? And he knew how to play those characters. But he was never
that voice.
Great actor. Yeah, definitely.
You cannot be that voice.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he's great in this because there's the stories about how he was butting heads with the director because the director didn't want him to be Vincent Price in it, you know. So he was always trying to get him to play it down, play it more real.
Yeah.
Because I always thought this film was going to be like an evil film to watch because I'd read more about it before I saw it as a kid, you know, and managed to get the Monster Mags or whatever, you know, and read about it. So you're waiting for the brutality and so on, but. And it was all there, but I think it was kind of the most talky of the films, but it was also kind of like the Blood and Satan's Claw. It has a feel to it, which I really like, and I think that comes from the fact that it's very much of the kind of like the natural feel of how it's filmed. It feels real. You know, a lot of films don't feel real when they're set in a different time period, but that film does.
Yeah, absolutely. And I found that with Witchfinder General and Blood and Satan's Claw, they are masterful at creating organic suspense in those movies, but it is mostly through the dialogue and then seeing what the other characters can't see.
Yeah.
They just do it so well, and it's so seamless.
Yeah.
And every time Vincent Price is on screen in Witchfinder General, you start to cringe straight away. Not because he's a bad actor, because he ain't. It's because you know his character is going to do something really skeevy and horrible, and get away with it.
He's a proper weasel, isn't he? Yeah. I'm not saying he's a bad actor. I just said he's not one of the best. He's just,
of course.
He was very camp in what he played, and he played it right. You know, that's how he was.
He plays melodrama. He plays it well.
Any of his films you watch, I mean, like, you know, even going up to Dr. Phibes, those roles were all perfect for him because he was a little bit camp in his
absolutely,
you know,
absolutely, 100%.
I mean, you look at the Witchfinder General, they remade that, didn't they? Solomon Kane.
There you go.
Yeah, but he was a good guy.
Yeah.
I was out of sync with the drinking.
That was a good
I know.
That was a good drink right there.
If anybody wants to know, Nick is drinking Dalwhinnie and I'm drinking Lefroy. Lucifer is drinking, I don't know, the blood of virgins. I am
like I said, it's a can of pure evil, caffeinated pure evil. But diet, like, I've got to go with the diet. So I've got to watch the figure. You know what I'm saying?
Most definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, a shadow of a doubt.
And believe me, he hasn't got a bigger fan than me.
No. And if you want to watch the interview that I did with Nick after this, you'll understand exactly how and why, and it all come together like a great plan. Yeah. Nice.
Rock on.
Funny try.
I'm sorry to hear that, Pete. I'm sorry to hear that.
That's got to have a single malt added, though.
You'll get better soon. Yeah, you need to be hot toddy going with that.
Oh yes, can't beat a good hot toddy.
I've been ill for I think it's been months now. And
my t-shirt. Funny enough. No, mate. Look, that's I'll show you. So it's an old 16th century drawing of witches with devils. I don't know which way I'm going here. It's basically got cheers underneath because they're having a party. But I got that from. We went to Cornwall to a place called Boscastle, which is quite, well known for witches. And my wife wanted to go there for years. We didn't get a chance. So we went to the Witches Museum, and it's really good. If you're ever in Cornwall, all the top sites you see, Tintagel, all that sort of stuff. Get to Boscastle. It's the most creepiest, spookiest place. And it's got this atmosphere that is amazing. But they've got this Witches Museum, tiny little place. One thing I'll show you, my wife bought me in there, it's called a stink horn. Do you know what a stink horn is?
Nope.
You're going to love this, Luce.
I'm prepared. I'm ready.
Personally, I'm getting a bit worried. But
so basically, we're walking around this this museum.
Going to big you up again.
And I looked down, and I just burst out laughing. There was this huge stink horn, right?
Right.
And when you see it, you'll know what I was laughing at. I couldn't stop. My missus come over. She went, "Oh my God." She went, "I know what you're laughing at now." So when we went out, when we finished the tour and that, and said, like, I wouldn't mind the old T-shirt with 16th century etching on it.
Yeah.
So she went, when we got outside, she went, "I bought you something else." So she went, "I bought you a stink horn. This is a stink horn." Right, so it's a witch's phallic symbol. Like, you imagine this 4 foot tall.
I'd rather not, to be honest with you.
It made my eyes water, I'll tell you. So
Right.
the Stinkhorn now lives on the shelf next to it.
Fantastic.
Exactly.
If we do a Secret Santa later this year, everyone's getting a Stinkhorn.
Kinky, yeah, mate.
Oh.
I could get the 4 foot one out.
Ah, that's a shame.
A quick advert for Aldi right now. I'll give that a go then. Single malt for Aldi. I'll give that a go. Excellent.
Oh, Baldy Oldies.
Yeah. I'll need it after that. Right. There are a lot of phallic symbols in these movies.
Should I show you the rest of them?
Yes, yes.
There were still 4 minutes before the watershed.
I haven't got Lucifer's arm there. That's a good one.
Wait till you see my urethral sounding rods, but that's a different show.
Right. Okay. Okay.
It didn't
You know,
belong to a bishop, did it?
what was that?
I say his
Sorry,
arm. His arm didn't belong to a bishop, did it?
No, some lady, I'm not sure who or what her story was. By the way, guys, me and Nick are going to be appearing at a convention together February 12th in Weymouth. So,
And he's bringing the arm.
Oh, yes, expect this, but a million times worse.
Yeah. And I'm going to
who
bring
knows what Nick will be bringing along with him. So get yourself out there.
the Stinkhorn's coming.
Oh, what are we talking about again? Right.
Stuff, just general stuff.
Stuff. I was thinking, and I just thought about it just now, that a good double bill would be Witchfinder General and The Bloody Judge.
I haven't seen The Bloody Judge. Haven't seen
It's
it.
a Jess Franco film with Christopher Williams.
Why have I not seen it?
So, well, we need to cover that at a later date then.
Oh,
but it just kind of jumped into my head there that would be a good one, because I'm looking at a page here which is talking about Mark of the Devil. Did anybody watch Mark of the Devil? Or
Yeah, I've
no,
seen
didn't
that.
get a chance.
Yeah.
Didn't get a chance.
Yeah,
I've seen it. I can't remember it, but I know I've seen it.
yeah, because that's mostly just about torture, Inquisition type stuff. But it's got that. All these films were all lumped in at the same time. But The Bloody Judge, I think, would actually make an interesting double bill with Witchfinder General. Watch it first, because it's a Jess Franco film and you want to stay awake. So don't put it on afterwards. Otherwise.
Easter weekend.
Yep. I'm still to watch. We're going to come back. We're definitely going to do a Jess Franco special. But me and Lucifer are going to torture ourselves watching Jess Franco movies.
Damn straight.
But yeah, so there is talking about the phallic symbols there. The maple is the most obvious one, which is in a lot of these movies.
Yeah.
It's I think also like it's in what I would consider to be, here we go, the greatest British horror movie ever made, which isn't full of scares or anything like that, but I genuinely think it's the best of all the movies.
Yeah,
and
it
it's
is phenomenal.
50 years old,
and it's still phenomenal.
It's its 50th anniversary this year, so that just because I'll feel even older than we feel. Yeah, so the Wicker Man, thoughts on the Wicker Man? I think it's a brilliant film for lots of reasons, and thank God they never remade the Wicker Man. That's all.
Yes, absolutely. just like thank God they never remade Planet of the Apes.
Exactly.
So those are two movies you just cannot remake.
Yeah, you can't touch them. Touch them.
Or Con Air.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the Wicker Man, I'll let you guys tell me what you think of the Wicker Man. You might not even like it. I don't know.
Oh,
I absolutely love it.
It's fantastic. It's so psychological, but the settings are what make them Wicker Man. You know, where the sun, the midsummer, longest day. You know, all that. My missus will know more than me about it.
It was filmed in November in Scotland, which is
that's
amazing.
Really weird because
it doesn't look it.
No, not at all. Yeah. But it's the way they catch all that and around that village and the sort of incestuousness about it. It's all a bit weird and it's great. It's a great film, absolutely great. I mean, never frightened me. I watched it when I was a kid. Never frightened me, but loved it. Loved it.
Yeah,
it wasn't the scary thing. I think the worst bit about it was at the end when you see the guy and you think, oh fuck me, they're going to put him in that thing, and burn him. You know, you just don't see that coming, do you? Really, it's like shit. But not really frightening, but fantastic film for me.
It's beautifully layered. There's so many different themes to it, but they don't clash. They complement each other, and it's great seeing Edward Woodward like go through that thing where he turns up and he's so steadfast in his religious beliefs that he's completely blind to the whole idea of like, look, it's okay if other people have those beliefs. They'll come to yours when they're ready, kind of thing. And just the way he treats it with absolute disrespect. But you can also tell that it's giving him not just cause for concern, like, oh my God, all these people are heathens in his eyes, but also it's beginning to make him question his own faith just that little bit. It's really challenging for him on so many levels, and unlike other folk horror that gets under your skin, you're watching it get under the character's skin. And that's what makes it so fascinating and makes your eyes glued to the screen the whole time. First time I saw it, I was a teenager and I had a horrible hangover and just went, oh, a friend lent me this, I'm putting it on. And even with a horrible hangover, I was still just glued to it, jaw dropping, just going like, "Oh my God, this!" But
it draws you in, doesn't it, Luce? It draws you in. It's like you become sort of part of it, and it's one of those where it's one of those films. I always say, I don't want to get up to have a piss because I don't want to miss anything.
Yes.
Before you had pause.
Yeah.
You know, even on the videos, you couldn't be bothered on the video. You had to walk all the way over to it, unless you had a big stick to push it.
I think it was only ever on the BBC, so there's no adverts.
I don't remember it being on the video. Yeah, it was always BBC, and you'll know, Wullie, it was always on like a BBC Two, the double bill, the horror. They always had the Wicker Man on.
I remember Movie Drome had the when they got the director's cut. There wasn't quite the director's cut, but they'd found footage. Yeah. I remember Movie Drome had that one. I just remember because Edward Woodward are doing a very good Scottish accent, it has to be said. And I just because I like Callan, which I never quite understood because I was far too young when I was watching it. You know, it was a grown-up show, but I just kind of liked Edward Woodward and Christopher Lee, which we all kind of like love. But Christopher Lee in this was so different and just so good. He's the most relaxed he's ever been in the movie, and it's almost matter of fact kind of way. And that's what I mentioned earlier. There's nothing supernatural about this movie, really. No. And it's just the sense that their religion, their beliefs, at odds with the beliefs of the policeman, who's a devout Christian and is a virgin because he doesn't believe in sex before marriage. So he's engaged. He's going to be married. And what's very good about it is they don't just take it for granted that he's an easy kind of like mark to bring in here, you know, for them to kind of use. They give him chances to get out of this. Brett Eklund, for instance, inviting him to basically come in and sleep with her. If he did that, then movie over, you know, the kind of thing. So it's kind of like it's like you say, it's layers, and every time you kind of watch it, I'll watch it every year or two, and you see something different. I think a lot of people today won't understand the fact it doesn't really have scares in it. There's no jump shock scares in it, and also they wonder why there's so much singing in it, because it's a musical, it's a folk musical as well.
It is a folk musical. But it also has elements that are almost documentary style.
See, today that would be classed as a thriller.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be a horror. In our day when it came out, it was a horror.
I don't think they
Oh,
considered it a horror. Anthony Schaeffer didn't, who wrote it, and he'd written Sleuth and had really successful with Sleuth. So again, it's very witty. The Wicker Man. It's a very funny movie. It's supposed to be as well. You're supposed to be laughing along with it.
Well,
it's a sense of humour, but I think the director as well was making it. Obviously trying to make it like a musical because he was linking everything with the songs and all that kind of stuff. Some of it, not some of it, all of it is pretty much diegetic as there is happening when we're watching it. And I think the only people that thought it was going to be a horror movie were the distributors, and when they saw it, they were like, "Shit, what is this?"
But it's only because of the ending. That's all it is. It's just because of the ending. It's just it's quite shocking.
But the ending stays with you afterwards. It makes you think about everything that's gone before, and then it makes you kind of want to watch it again.
Yeah.
And the ending's brilliant. If anyone hasn't seen it, the last shot of the Wicker Man, which is no special effects, it's all done. Set the camera up. Hope that the wind's going to work in their favour to get the shot they need as the Wicker Man's burning and the sun's set in the background, and everything does work in their favour. And it's like one of the best shots to end a movie ever. It's right up there.
It really
Planet
is.
of the Apes.
Well, I don't know if you've noticed, you've both read London Gothic. Christopher Lee is our tribute to Christopher Lee, is that he's actually in it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I wanted, when I was speaking to Mike about it, I don't want to harp on about London Gothic, but when I was speaking to Mike about it, and I said, we need a servant for Phineas, and I'd written in a servant, and he said, well, how do you want me to draw him? So I found pictures of Christopher Lee, and I went, that is how you draw him.
Nice.
One of the masters of horror fits perfectly into it, and he was a fantastic actor. He was a good actor. Yeah. He could make that role. You know, make his roles fit around his acting style. Not so camp as Vincent, who had his own style, who everyone loves.
Absolutely.
Peter Cushing was the same.
Yeah.
He had that same sort of role that he played all the time.
Yes, absolutely. And I would actually go as far as saying, and don't chastise me for this, in The Wicker Man, you're seeing Christopher Lee channel his inner Vincent Price.
Could be. I
get that.
Yeah.
He is having fun in a way that Vincent Price has.
Yeah.
Because he is so likable and you kind of get a feeling as well. It's like everybody in the village believes the religion, I think, and there's the ones that maybe they all believe the religion or they all go along with it. But you don't really get the feeling that Christopher Lee cares one way or the other, you know. It's something. It's something that has to be done. And it keeps the people happy. It keeps everything going, you know. So it's almost like you would expect a kind of like a landowner with his serfs and everybody, you know. It's like it's got that kind of feel to his character.
Do you know the other thing as well is the character, these actors that we loved, Vincent Price, Peter Cushing, Christopher Lee, those sort of actors. When you look at nowadays and you look at then, there was no scandal surrounding them.
Yeah.
You know, they were mostly gentlemen and loved their fans and would do anything for them and took life, you know, were grateful for what they'd given. And you look at some of the actors nowadays, some of the, like the horror actors, so like, you know, and you fix yourself fucking now. It's
completely different world.
Yeah, it is. It is, you know. But there you go. And he was Scaramanga, I can see there. Yeah.
Offset. Yep.
There you go.
Well, actually, I was still talking this, but Pete, is it okay to show these pictures in dox you or not? Just let me know. The thing about Scaramanga is in a few weeks' time, what we're doing, a few weeks' time, we've got a show me and Stato that are doing, and then another me and Stato show is we're going to be ranking the Bond films. So Stato was ranking his Bond films, and I'm ranking my Bond films as well. So that's William Stato at the
Nice.
movies. We're going to be doing. Cool. I shall do that then. Show them because they're cool. We're going to be doing on the show. We'll do it live, kind of thing, and then we shall be inviting Mr. Storm to rank his as well. At a later date when we do a huge Bond ranking show. So that's coming up in the future as well. So I don't know if you're much of a James Bond fan, Nick.
No.
Yeah, well, okay. So you heard it here first. Nick will not be ranking the Bond films.
It's not my thing. No, I don't mind Daniel Craig. He's all right, and I didn't mind old.
Oh, you
Sean
need to watch
Connery.
the show then, if that's what you're thinking.
No, just horror, mate. You know me. Horror and lots of blood and guts action, or gangsters.
Right. Hang on.
Can't go wrong with gangsters.
Hang on a minute.
I introduced my missus at Christmas. It was it Christmas Eve? Because there was fuck all else on the telly, so we watched Get Carter.
Nice.
What a film! What a film! So yeah, that was good. But it is. You fall back, don't you, into these films, and you think,
Yeah, you do.
got to be done.
And that's been one of the pleasures, like doing this folk horror thing, like leading up to it. It's been like, oh, I get to rewatch some that I've seen, but I get to see a lot of old movies that I haven't seen. And I've made it very clear, like, don't get me wrong, there are some great modern movies, but most of them are pish.
But you're such a good boy, Luce, because you've done all the
I know.
watching, and I didn't.
I didn't do all the watching. I did
was
a
too
lot.
busy. I was too busy, and then the football was on.
Well.
Right, I'm going to share these pics from Pete that he sent me. They are. Oh, hang on a minute. What have I done? Oh, for goodness sake! What am I like, guys? Talk about something.
Something. Okay, something is a wonderful word. It's a much
Well, I'll
better
tell you
word than
maybe a possible folk horror for this month. Possible.
All right.
Ooh.
Now, being of Irish descent, I've been watching this one for a little while, and it's called. Oh, where is it? Hold on, I've got it written down here because I've been looking at it. Unwelcome.
Oh, okay.
Now, this is either going to be an absolute cracker or a shit show, but it's about a couple that go to Ireland and move into a community, which is quite a regular sort of thing. But they have to feed the leprechauns at night.
Oh.
And if they forget, all shit breaks loose. So it looks like it's a bit Gremlins in Irish, but
Sold.
Yeah, unwelcome. It did look good on the trailer, and it looked quite funny as well. And I don't know if it was meant to be funny or not, but it looked all right. Yeah.
Right, so what was that called again?
Unwelcome.
Okay, we shall watch
Yeah.
that.
I'm making a
coming
note of that.
End of the month, I think it's out.
Right,
So,
okay,
yeah.
we'll get that watched then. Cool.
I think it's going to be one of those that it's not meant to be a sort of cult film, but it becomes one just because you can have a good laugh as well.
Yeah.
Right, we've got all the Bond talk and the chat as well.
This what is this then, Pete?
So this is where they filmed some of the Wicker Man.
Oh wow!
People there
Nice.
take some photographs. So this is where it goes. Burrowhead, or Burrowhead, as we'd call it. There we go. Nice light as well. So there's there's Pete
That's
doxing himself
brilliant.
live on the YouTubes, and you'll really recognise. Oh, of course, you recognise those two stumps. Of course, there stumps of the.
Is that Pete?
That's Pete. Yep.
I thought that was Tom Cruise.
Yeah, I know. So
He's handsome, isn't he?
yeah. We only let good-looking people on this channel.
Of course.
You let me on here, and I look like I've fallen into a fucking tackle box.
That's like he's saying there. Those are the stumps that are left for the second Wicker Man that they made for the final shot.
That's awesome.
And there's the
Ah, I remember that.
interior. You know that. You even get a close up of that skull, and you've got the woman sitting. Thankfully, Pete's not breastfeeding and holding an egg in that shot. But yeah, it was excellent.
So is that a real? That's
awesome.
A real place. That wasn't built for the Wicker Man, was it?
Everything in the Wicker Man is real, apart from the trees. They had the plastic summer-looking trees that they would arrange to make it look as if it wasn't November in Scotland.
Yeah.
So they would shoot through them. Sort of thing.
Skull and Crossbones is fantastic. What was the purpose of that when they actually built that? You know.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's an old church.
A church with a skull and crossbones. That makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Just a tad.
Yeah.
Pete might know more than we do.
Yeah.
Pete,
Pete, let us know.
Pete Bakewell. If anybody knows, but I mean, you do find a lot of kind of weird things in these old churches, though, don't you? Sort of tombs and so on.
We've got some down here. We've got
right, okay. I was thinking that because I watched it again this week, and I was thinking, you know what? I'm actually just a stone's throw away from a lot of these places. I should probably go.
Oh, Wullie, you need to go out there with the video and do a video.
I should probably do that. I should probably go and do a Wicker Man trail. Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
There's a place down here somewhere, and it's got they call it the Shell. I don't know if it's called the Shell Chapel, but it's thousands and thousands, probably millions of shells in this weird little coven-y thing. And no one knows why, but apparently, like the early Victorians, like 1800s, went down there when they used to go for their holidays, and they made this little sanctuary of shells. You have to pay to get in, but it goes on forever. There's another place down near me what's got a load of skulls, and it's like a old what do you call it, catacombs.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, there's some places down this way that's all a bit weird. There's some towns down this way that are a bit weird as well. There's only 6. You know what I mean?
That's social to me to say that.
Yeah.
Probably just symbolizing
like the Whitakers.
But yeah, so that
if you haven't seen the Whitakers, go on YouTube and fucking put it in.
we should take a note of that.
It's like the real Deliverance. Brilliant.
There we go.
That could be folk horror. There you go, folk horror.
There you go.
We could just go down there and make a documentary and see what happens.
Oh, mate, yeah. Well, someone did on that. If you look at that Whitakers, someone told me about it, and I was like, "Nah, it can't be real." Because they were saying, like, "Have you seen Deliverance with the old banjo and all that?" And I went, "Yeah." And they went, "There's actual families in the Appalachian Mountains that are like that." And some guy went and interviewed them, and I was like, "Fucking hell, really?" He was like, "Yeah." So I went home, and straight away I got it on me and my missus, and we sat there. We just went, "Oh my god." This is like where they've got the ideas from, like, you know, Wrong Turn and Hills Have Eyes and the Deliverance. You got to go and this weekend go and look at the Whitakers. Put it in YouTube and you'll find it, and it is amazing.
Guys, wait, after the show, we're losing people, right? They're all going to watch the Whitakers now.
I said after. But yeah, it is amazing, because apparently, like, this family went there from like the 1700s from London. Yeah, which was quite funny as well, because they done a family tree on one of the YouTube things, and it says like where they came from. They married, the twins married each other or something, and it all went down. And they're all incestuous, but you'll see it when you see it. You'll understand. But it was funny because they went, "Oh, well, the first one came from London, but we don't know their surname." And my missus looked at me and she went, "Henry." Oh, yeah. Okay.
Can I just address like Pete's comment about Wullie, me, and you on the road, and he would be like, "Take my money." I say we do it, guys. I say we do it. I am all up for this challenge.
We do it. At some point in the future, we're bound to be a coin together or something. Maybe do something with it.
That would be so awesome, but we would get so pissed.
The thing is,
hey Brian, thanks for joining us.
Hey man,
Brian.
See, we've been talking about the unholy trinity. Does that now make us the unholy trinity as well? There are three of us.
Probably, yeah. Yeah.
I've not got anything on my shelf as unholy as what Nick's got in his, though. So he's really be the leader.
Yeah. Nick, you lead the way. We will just follow and drink.
Oh, House Satan. I've got the right name, haven't I? Old Nick. So that's it.
Old Nick.
Exactly.
Old Nick, that's it.
Yeah. Old Beelzebub. Brilliant. No, we'll have to, yeah, good to bad. Anchor, you can call me. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Okay. We've talked about the Wicker Man. There is no bit. Have anyone seen the Wicker Tree?
No.
There's the guy, the director of the Wicker Man, made a kind of a sequel to it called The Wicker Tree a few years ago, and sorry, you as well not. Yeah, you don't need to see it.
Fair enough. Which means that I now have to see it.
Yeah, I've got it on Blu-ray, but yeah,
I've seen Alan Wicker.
Oh, you poor man. I saw a wicker chair once. I might have even owned one at one point. I'm not sure.
They were all the rage back in the day. What was it? Opening titles of Vegas.
Oh yeah.
Yep. This is the only place you can go to on the internet to watch a show about pagan horror movies, and then somebody just brings up a remark about Vegas. Yeah, I've not. That's weird. I've not read his book, but yeah, he adapted his own book. Obviously didn't do as good a job as he could have done, but yeah, it's an interesting film to watch if you're kind of like you're up for it. Give it a wee watch, but it's not. It lacks great actors and great casting to begin with, which is what the Wicker Man had. Everybody was cast brilliantly in that. Even Britt Eklund, who was dubbed, but visually she was perfect for that kind of temptress kind of role. And they had Annie Ross doing her dubbing as well. Scottish blues singer Annie Ross, who a lot of people will recognise from Superman 3. As she gets turned into the robot in Superman 3, the scary cyber robot. The best of the Superman movies, of course. So,
of course,
everything about the Wicker Man was just brilliant, really. So it's kind of hard to.
Wullie, I'm just looking there, and I'm just seeing American Wealth in London. Now, do you class that as some sort of folk horror?
See, that's.
I was wondering about that as well.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I don't.
Beware the Moors.
I don't. It's like
to meet.
The thing about American Werewolf in London is, I know it's Pete's favourite film, and we did. Oh God, it must be years ago now. We did a stream where we were talking about the best British film, and I was saying it's Wicker Man, and most people agreed it was American Werewolf in London. It's not a British film. As far as I'm concerned, it's just made in Britain. But it's a brilliant movie.
It's a brilliant movie.
It's an amazing movie.
Absolutely
I love it. I watched it again this year, and it was like I saw things I'd never seen before, and I was nostalgic for a time when we only had like 3 channels and there was nothing on the telly.
Yeah.
It was worse in Scotland. You turned the telly on and it was cricket. You were like, oh God.
They play that up there.
They do, but most of us don't. The kind of people who Rod Summer knocked about with on the mainland would have played it. But
See,
no,
if we're talking about, say, like the American welfare in London, would you class Dog Soldiers as a folk horror? It takes place absolutely in the Scottish Highlands.
No, I think the thing about American Werewolf in London for me, it doesn't make it folk horror, as they are simply just scared of people finding out something.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's just fear of them finding out something. It's not a case of like their livelihood depends on this, or it becomes something to do with the land or something to do with their identity. So it is just fear. They keep it secret.
Yeah.
And even
Plus,
then they do the right thing in the movie. They do go out there with the guns and they do the right thing, you know. So it's all about that and cover up. So because that's missing, it's not a folk horror for me.
Well, there's also a couple of other things that I feel are missing.
Thank you, Brian. Like, finally, somebody who agrees with me. Thank you.
I mean, like, it does have that outsider element. That seems to be an important part of the recipe for a folk horror, of an outsider coming into this secluded setting. But usually the outsider is a bad guy, and the people who live there are portrayed as the bad guys, yet they're normally likable. And the supposed hero, the outsider, is the actual bad guy, and there's normally nothing likable about him. So like those elements are kind of missing from American Werewolf, whilst it is an outsider in a different territory.
Yeah.
I watched a film once which was based. It was one of the sort of, I suppose you call them B horror movies, and it was based in Cornwall, and it was about the black dog of Bodmin Moor.
Okay.
And if I could remember the actual title, but I can't. But it was quite good actually, and it was they would at this community were saying there was this black dog and it was taking people, but it weren't. They actually had a serial killer in the village who was taking people, and then this couple came for a holiday and they found bodies and stuff and everything else. I cannot remember for the life of me the name of it, but it was one of those films that it was quite, made on a budget, but it was a very good film, very good. It wasn't shocking or gory, apart from you seeing like the odd hand hanging out of the earth, where it's been buried and stuff. The community knew that this serial killer, but they portrayed it as the dog of Bodmin Moor, the beast, and whatever it was of Bodmin Moor, to cover it up, to keep him safe. That was quite good. If I remember it, I will put it on at some point. But
Really knows that. Sounds interesting. Yeah.
So here's one for you, and it's a double whammy because it's also a video nasty. Dead and Buried.
Cool, that's an old one.
Yeah, would you consider that a folk horror, because it has a lot of the elements?
Wow.
Difficult one, isn't it?
It's like, that film's a bit like Scream and Scream Again, and it's hard to categorize.
Yes, absolutely. Don't worry, I've got another one that's a lot easier to categorize.
Yeah, Wake Wood.
Do that one then.
Okay, I would say this is folk horror, and there are a few websites that would agree with me, and that is Children of the Corn.
Yeah, I'd say that. Yeah.
But the question is, which do you prefer? The short movie that they made before the 1984 one, based on the same story, called Disciple of the Crow.
Do you know what, Luce? I'm not a great lover of Stephen King.
No, that's fair enough.
You'll be joining us for Stephen King special later in the year.
Yeah, especially where we just sit there and go, some of his stories are all right, but the person.
I do actually think some are okay.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I just
think some are just bollocks.
No, that's
Can
fair
I just
enough.
point out, I didn't realise that these were on YouTube now, because they are excellent and well worth checking out if you've not seen them.
Brian must have been watching the old the ghost stories for Christmas. I used to love them. They used to do some. There was one I remember that was about some woman's baby that died, and it was in a tree outside, and it used to scream and cry and sent her mad. I'm going back a long time. I can't remember the name of that one, but they used to do some weird shit. That BBC.
It was always scary stuff as well, and not much was ever happening. It was just atmospheric. I remember as a kid, it would come on BBC Two. This drama would start, and within about 5 or 10 minutes, you'd go, "Oh shit, this is a scary one, isn't it?"
Yeah.
See, I haven't seen any of those, but I was watching a documentary about folk horror. It's called something like Woodlands Dark and Days Bewitched. It's about 3 hours and 12 minutes long, and you only need to see the first half hour, 45 minutes, because that's where they talk about like the unholy trinity and start to define folk horror. After that, if anyone thinks I'm reading too much into what folk horror is and what it's all about, wait till you see that documentary, because they start going really too far into it, but trying to make it all woke. They're trying to make out that every folk horror is woke, and more woke. And I was just like, and this is the point I turn off.
Yeah. I tried to watch one called A Field in England. Have you ever seen that?
I haven't seen it. I saw a clip of it, and hasn't it got Reece Shearsmith from
I've
Inside
seen
Number 9?
46 minutes of it.
Fucking hell, I turned off after half hour. I didn't know what was going on, mate. And people were raving about it, and I said to the missus, I can't watch this. It's just, the acting's so piss poor. It just had no meaning. I didn't know what was going on. It kept blokes singing to something else. It was like one of these psychedelic, like we was talking about, people on drugs in the 60s.
It was like a student art film.
Student, yes,
okay.
Exactly.
But it had decent actors in it, and it,
yeah, because I really dig.
Slight defend. I couldn't make it past 46 minutes, and
I couldn't do it, Brian. Yeah, I couldn't do it.
That might be why I didn't really get into Midsummer, because I watched Midsummer after watching 45 minutes of that, and maybe that.
There you go.
Yeah, just kind of.
Well, I'm not surprised. It probably turned your brain to mush watching that Field in England. I go and have a red hot bath.
Black Death is a fantastic film, but there is no film better than The Wicker Man.
Yeah.
But Black Death is great. It's fantastic. I did watch some of that as well. Didn't watch the whole film, but I dipped back into it again. It's one of these films a lot of people don't even know or realise is out there. It's a very good film. They just see Sean Bean, I think, and think it's a kind of low budget thing with him in the lead, which it is, but it's not that. It's a much better film than that.
But low budget doesn't mean bad.
No, I mean
sometimes it does, but not always.
No, I mean look at some of the best films that have been made. Really, they've been piss poor budgets, haven't they? Like,
absolutely.
No, My Monkeys has gone in a bit of a rant. So it's going to go for a slight segue here, but a bit of a rant here.
Well, is it Rhinefield? Yeah. I think it's supposed to be a comedy, though, isn't it?
It's green.
It's not supposed to be serious, is it?
Yeah.
Or am I saw a trailer and I was laughing my head off, and maybe I've got the wrong end of it. I don't know.
I saw the trailer. I disliked it intensely.
Yeah.
It was like an MCU movie. It felt to me like it was like a Marvel film.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I was kind of looking forward to it, and I think because of that, and then the girl that's in Shang-Chi turned up, and I was like, oh, it's that kind of comedy. And so, as you know, I'm not watching any superhero movies for a year. That was my New Year's resolution. You might not know. I mentioned that in the last show we did. So I'm not watching any superhero movies or TV shows because they're just doing my head in.
Shit.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Say hello there to Stella at Radical Cartoons. Thanks for joining us.
Hello, Stella. How the devil are that?
Doing? You all right?
Oh, she's got a couple of ones here that I doubt we've watched in the last couple of weeks. But yeah, Field in England is just too bizarre.
Robin Redbreast. It's weird. It is. I mean,
weren't they part of the A Ghost Story for Christmas, or were they part of a different anthology?
I'm just not knowing the names. Yeah, like I say, I haven't seen these since I was a kid, so I need to dive back in. Now that they're on YouTube, I'm going to dive back in there and watch them.
Haven't seen any of them, and I really wanted to because I heard about one. I think it's called Whistle and I'll Come. and that's meant to be like really good, and some people consider that like a kind of folk horror as well. I really wanted to find that.
Yeah, that's a was he T.L. James, the author?
It's something like that.
Something like that. He wrote some really, really creepy short stories.
Yeah.
And Whistle and I'll Come to You or something like that. And I think I've seen it, and it is very, see, again, psychological. Maybe you can put that into the folk horror.
I think so, because like you mentioned A Field in England, and I said that about that having Reece Shearsmith in it,
M.R. James. Cheers, Pete.
Who's from Inside Number 9, and some of the Inside Number 9 episodes, they are folk horror. There is no two ways about it. In the last season they did a story called Mr. King, which is all set in a school classroom in Wales. But it is pure folk horror. It is clearly influenced by The Wicker Man, and it gets under your skin. There are some really funny moments in it, because that show is meant to be like a black comedy show, like lots of horror elements, but loads of jokes to go with it as well. But some of the stuff they managed to pull off, it's insane. It is so psychological. It gets right under your skin. You are hooked from the word go. If you haven't seen Inside Number 9, I recommend missing the very first episode they did of the first season. But after that, you'll see some drama kind of ones, some more pure comedy ones. But every now, like almost every season, they do one that is just a pure horror story with elements of humor in it, and it's normally got a folk horror vibe to it, if not being pure folk horror.
Is that the? I mean, I don't really. I've got to put my hands up. I've not really seen a lot of League of Gentlemen and Inside Number 9, but I know of Mark Gatiss. Is he one of them?
Yeah. He's in some of the episodes. Yeah.
He's not involved in the writing of these though. He's not involved in the writing of these ones though. So he's not.
No. It's just Steve Pemberton and Reece Shearsmith that do the writing.
They are really good. I would say watch the first episode, because then when you watch the second episode, you realise just how different every episode is going to be.
Watch the first episode, but don't make it the first episode that you watch.
Okay. Right. Okay.
That's what I would say.
Right. Okay.
I'll give them a try.
Do it.
Okay, shout out for Radical Cartoons.
I've not seen any of those sort of things, but I know that these guys are quite similar to us. They were brought up on horror and films, movies, stuff like that. So
but they do commentaries to Blood and Satan's Claws and Theatre of Blood. Did a commentary for that as well. So, yeah, definitely. If I've put a link in further down there for everybody, if they want to go to Stella's YouTube channel and subscribe as well, because their cartoons are great. And if you want more information on Radical Cartoons, they check the interview that's on this website, on this YouTube channel, and it's a really good one. It's all about how Stella was cancelled and how she's kind of like risen like a phoenix with her political cartooning. I hope you've risen like a phoenix. I said that. That's the right thing to do. I would say, lucky man. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Oh God, that's yeah. I remember that.
And again, it's got the music running through it as well in a way that the Wicker Man does, and it's just brought. Oh yeah, good. Yeah, good shout. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, going back that Oh Lucky Man, for some reason that just reminded me of the Hammer Horror series. I don't know why.
It
just poked in there. It's a bit like the Hammer Horror or the Tales. Some of the Tales of the Unexpected when we.
I think it was when it was all they were all getting shown on TV around about that time, late 70s, early 80s. It was all there. And you had all the Ken Russell movies getting shown around about the same time on BBC Two. And so we were watching these as kids. It's like it all seemed quite normal that movies were made that way. Whereas I think nowadays, looking at a lot of these films, you've got, God, these are really very radical and very different kinds of films. But yeah, the Lindsay Anderson trilogy, good shout out.
Funny enough, talking about some of the old Vincent Price ones, another story was, although he wasn't there at the time, but when they was filming Dr. Phibes, and me and some of my little mates, we used to go fishing down the Thames for eels for my nan. So she's given us 50p an eel. That was good.
Nice.
And then jelly them, and they was fucking horrible. I wouldn't eat them. But it was money, you know what I mean? So we used to go down to Lambeth Pier, a place called Lambeth Pier, opposite Lambeth Palace, you know. And we saw that many times they was filming stuff there, but they were filmed. It wasn't Dr. Fives, it was something else they was filming. It was a horror film because the guy jumped off the wall into it was a stunt man, obviously, but he jumped off the wall.
Madhouse.
Oh, what was it? It was something weird. But because we're kids, you know, we're like 9, 10, and we're like, what are you doing, mister? What's all this going on, you know?
Yeah.
And so they told us at the time, but I can't remember. But they had someone got stabbed and jumped on a wall and jumped in the Thames. And I thought, you would not get me jumping in that Thames, even if I was a stuntman. You come out with something nasty, really. It was rotten in the 70s. Absolutely. But so I can't remember what it was called now. But we used to see them filming down there a lot when we used to go on our feral walks. We'd always find them filming something or other. But I'm pretty sure it was something to do with a Vincent Price film. On laughing at me, I can't remember what it was. But anyway, then the pub
I'm just thinking of the weird ones, like Scream and Scream Again and that kind of stuff. That's the only ones I could think of.
But the bit that we used to go fishing on at the beginning when you said about Doctor Who.
Yeah.
There's a set of steps that go down by the back of St Thomas's Hospital by the Thames, and there's a set of steps that go down, and they walk all the way along to Lambeth Bridge. Well, that's where we used to go. When Doctor Who came out with Cybermen, and we watched it on the telly, they were walking down these fucking steps. My sister said to me that they're coming for you now, and I went, shit, like I'm off. So that was it. That was all I remember about the Cybermen, because I actually walked to where I knew.
Yeah.
I really believed that they was going to come down and get us.
And that's when you turned off the TV and never watched the show again.
Never
Like,
watched
fuck
it.
that.
I've always been a bit of a dim lad.
So we've got more. There's even more MR James stuff out there, or RM James as I call him.
He wrote some great stuff. Yeah, really good stuff.
So, just thinking to wind up the folk horror, but now that we're all probably going to go and watch Old Lucky Man at some point over the next few weeks. Again,
I do
thank God you never remade the Wicker Man.
Oh yes, there is one folk horror movie that I have to talk about because I watched it. It's called Alucarda. Okay, it's one that most people don't know about. I just found it out of the blue. It's like from 1972.
Now, if we turn that name around the other way, does that spell
it's a Dracula?
A Dracula,
which doesn't ruin the movie. All I can say is this movie was meant to be a serious, dramatic piece. I have never laughed so much in my fucking life. It was like watching an episode of Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. It was fucking superb because it was an absolute car crash of a fucking... I can't even tell you what it's about. It involves lesbianism at some point, right?
and Jess Franco involved in this at all?
Right, seriously, I actually had to look up the director because I thought it was a Jess Franco movie. I swore it was a Jess Franco movie, and it wasn't. And I was like, this is obscene. Like, there's a wonderful bit where, Alucarda. There's a wonderful bit where, like, the lead character, Alucarda herself, she can't pronounce the name Justine properly. She keeps calling her Justine, which I'm like, oh, that's all kinds of anti-Semitism that Kanye West will fucking love, right? But there's a point where she's really like distraught and she's spinning around. It is meant to be this like Satan is channeling through her, and there are these sounds coming out of her that are meant to be demonic, but one of them sounds like she is fucking breaking wind. So she's just spinning around like and I was howling with absolute laughter. It was insane. There was another wonderful bit where they're trying to, like, these priests are trying to do an exorcism. You got some really badly dressed nuns who I didn't even know were nuns. That's how badly dressed they were. And like, you had Alucarda just her thing that made them all tremble in fear is she would just start naming different names for Satan. She'd be like Beelzebub, and they'd be like, "Oh my God, no, we're all gonna die." And so one of these priests just says, like, "Someone silence her," and this random guy out of nowhere in black just punches her in the face. And I'm like, "What the hell's going on? This is amazing for all the wrong reasons."
I've seen it. Tom Hanks
Have
is
you?
in it.
That's the one. That's the one.
It spends half the movie talking to basketball. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
Okay,
and there's a
right,
dog
okay,
as
well,
well called Hooch or something.
It is on Blu-ray from Mondo. I forgot funny feeling it's on YouTube as well. just from that explanation of what happened in it.
I think I've actually seen that.
You need to see it to believe it. If you haven't, I sincerely hope you have, Nick, because then you'll understand my pain mixed with joy at the same time.
It's one of those ones where you just go, what's going on here? What's happening? What's happening here? Am I alive?
I'm kind of with Pete here. He's trying to work out if he's recommending the movie or warning us about it. But
the answer to that question, Pete, is yes. Just yes.
Just before we're done for the night, just to get us back on track, Radical Cartoons made an interesting observation. The sequence in Theatre of Blood, which is identical to one in Oh Lucky Man, where he's chased by the degenerate tramps. Now, I know it's the scene she's talking about, and it's also, I think, the one scene in Theatre of Blood that is genuinely disturbing, because it's a comedy horror film that he made, and it's the one scene that's genuinely disturbing. It's still absurd, but it's not absurd in an unbelievable kind of way. It's genuinely disturbing, and so it kind of I just thought that was interesting. I'd never liked that before. I know it's just
damn straight.
You need
damn straight.
And it's early in the movie, so everything that comes afterwards never gets to that level again. But it's the one scene you kind of go, this is a bit real. What's going on here?
Yeah.
Excellent. Right, so I think that covers Alucarda.
I think I had that for dinner earlier.
I wasn't going to bring this up, but because it's not my monkey, I kind of feel I have to.
Oh, go on.
I cannot take him anywhere. Seriously, it's that Aldi booze. Right. So, I'm trying to think if there was anything else I've watched that would been interesting or different, but I think we've covered it all. I think we're kind of
pretty much
out. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got everything done on my list. My homework.
All I can say is I think it's a great genre, and I am so looking forward to watching more of it. I'm sure I will get to a point soon though where I'll be like, okay, I'm starting to get sick of it. I better watch something else.
I think we should do another show, and we should do really cheap like 80s horror films.
You hear that? That's the sound of no one disagreeing with you.
Yeah.
We would have to have parameters, because they would have to be like, we'd have to know just kind of what kind of cheap it is. Are we talking Troll 2 cheap, or are we talking just
$50?
$50.
Well, that's too expensive. That's too expensive.
Okay, so
I'll do it for a coffee.
Are we limited to horror movies? Because there was a film called Ninja Mission, which I believe was made for less than $50.
Oh, yes.
And it was marketed brilliantly with an amazing cover, and it was quite simply the worst movie ever made.
It was.
But you remember it.
I can't forget it. Yeah, I can't forget it.
It had an effect.
Didn't even have Steven Seagal in it. I remember it. I remember the disappointment of watching it, and and thinking at that time that, if I had such a thing as a camera, I could have made this.
I remember one from the 80s, just one.
It is indeed. It's a Swedish ninja movie.
Do you
Brilliant,
ever remember
brilliant cover.
Supersonic Man that was made in the 70s or 80s?
Yeah.
No, but I want to know more.
Jesus Christ, it was awful, mate. Honest to God, it was so bad. It was like bits of string holding bits up, and you could see the string and stuff. It was fucking
brilliant.
awful,
Cameron Mitchell was in that,
I'm in.
wasn't he?
eh?
Cameron Mitchell was in that.
Oh God, I don't even know who that is, mate.
Cameron, shut the fucking door, Mitchell.
Who's
What a
Cameron
legend.
Mitchell?
He was a Western actor who later on he was in lots and lots of really bad low budget movies, and he's
And
fucking
the
legend.
Jukebox Murders.
Yep.
This must have set his career alight then, because it was so bad. I could just remember that he actually fought a cloud in it. And the cloud was on string. It was like watching Pipkins in the 70s. It was
Nick,
like
I'm
on a
sold.
bit of string.
Nick, I'm sold. You don't need to keep selling it to me. I'm in.
You know what I did? I think that's one of the films about a year ago I had a look at for a watch along, but I couldn't get it because it was still in copyright or so for us to watch.
Yeah,
because it would have been a good shout.
It's been confined to the actual like FBI shit basement. Like, it's bad for your brain.
Yeah, he is. He was in good movies too. He's one of these actors that would. He made more bad movies than good movies because he would turn up for a couple of days' work, and he was a name because he was in like it was a High Chaparral, and he'd been in decent TV shows. People knew who he was. So the kind of like the general punter would have known his name on the poster. Back in the day when people just went to the cinema on the off chance they would see a good movie, and they didn't know what they were going to get. But then that meant his name was on all kinds of rubbish.
I mean, he's still sitting in his Los Angeles mansion, though, on all them shit movies.
Oh no, he's been dead for a while.
I think if he's embalmed,
not
maybe.
talking about now.
But let's put it this way: for every blood and black lace, there's a Frankenstein's Island.
So now he's up there actually fighting clouds, is he?
Yeah, absolutely.
Real ones.
He's bumming smokes off of Jesus himself and fighting clouds.
I don't think he's in the movie that Cap's making, but but we have watched Dracula in Istanbul once. Do it as a surprise watch along one night for Stato. Do it again.
They're brilliant when you watch these films, aren't they, in foreign languages? I remember.
Especially if there's no subtitles, they're even better. Trust me.
Oh, absolutely excellent, right?
Right. The Turkish ET one, Bardi, is brilliant. No subs. You have a scream with that. It's brilliant.
We went on holiday once, and I've got like 4 kids, and we took the kids. We went to some remote island down in Spain, and there was fuck all on the telly. It was pissing down the rain, obviously in Spain. You go at the best time and it's going to piss down all day. And we watched Pirates of the Caribbean in Kazakhstan. And why they had Kazakhstani on the fucking telly? It was the only channel on there that had a film and no subtitles.
Oh.
So, because we'd seen it a few times, we're doing all the voices. It was quite entertaining, I've got to say. Yeah. But I'll tell you what fuck. Mate, it's like trying to entertain kids doing their lives. What's he say? He says, "I like the radish." It's like fucking hell.
Brilliant. Give me a second. I'm just going to share the screen. We're not going to watch ourselves, which is something that we do, Nick, occasionally on this. We have been going to sit and watch ourselves. And
looking at that, you've got 6 watchers.
I know. We'll get more. We had more at the start, and then you showed us that phallic thing, and they all disappeared.
The stink corn.
The stink corn. That's it. Right. So, just wanted to flag up coming up on the channel. 12 days. Me and Stato watch Hammer House of Horror. Stato hasn't seen it before, so he's coming at it with fresh eyes. and I'll be revisiting it with rose-tinted spectacles because I watched it as a school kid, and we all talked about it the next day in the old playground. Then in February, me and Stato have got our Bond films ranked, and we'll be popping. I don't know what his ranking is. I did mine in 20 minutes. I ranked all the Bond films in 20 minutes, so I thought it'd be difficult, but it wasn't. It was quite easy. So that'll be an interesting show. And like I say, as Lucifer's just found out, he's going to have to be doing his for a show that's coming up after this. We're going to be doing like a full kind of ranking, but we'll have more people doing a big ranking.
Can't wait.
So I just thought I'd share that. That's what's coming up. I'm trying to do maybe 2 shows a month now and get back into doing some streaming. Also, Radical Cartoons that was in the chat there with some great suggestions. And the old Lucky Manor, I want to watch that now. I did mention to her last year that I want to do like a science fiction show where we're talking about actually talking about old science fiction books of the 70s and sort of like cult stuff and that. So I'm going to get that going at some point this year and give her a shout to get her back on. Maybe 1 or 2 others to do that. So branching out in some other areas. And also what I didn't have up there because I've not got the thumbnail done yet is we're going to do a ranking of the Full Moon Empire movies, Empire Pictures movies. Not all of them because they make a lot of crap these days, they really do. But, Puppet Master 17, I don't know. But we will be doing that, and that should be a good laugh because it was a good laugh when we did the Van Damme ones and the Albert Park.
Oh
ones.
yes.
So that's it. Quick, also say hello there to Jim at Studio 7 Collectibles in the chat.
Oh, good sir.
That's a suggestion, and that's a good suggestion. Yeah, good suggestion. So thanks for that. Not my monkeys. So I think we kind of thoroughly got into folk pagan horror there.
Yeah,
excellent.
I
enjoyed
think so too.
Watching them, apart from the 46 minutes of a field in England, which was.
You got further than me.
Well, I can't maybe tell you what you missed.
and now the audience can start taking bets on which one of us is going to make a folk horror comic first.
I'm never doing comics again after this year. I'm never again. Right. So on that optimistic note of I'm never doing any work ever again. Thanks to everybody in the chat for turning up and listening to us natter away about the Wicker Man, the greatest. Well, in fact, the movie that Cine Fantastique, the magazine called the Citizen Kane of horror movies. They were being a bit highbrow with that, but I agree. So thanks very much for joining us in the chat, everybody. And like I say, we shall see you, or I'll see you with Stato in a couple of weeks. We will be talking Hammer House of Horror. It's on Tubi, so if you don't have a copy, it's on Tubi. Okay, so you can get yourself watching it on there. I will put up a list of the episodes we'll be talking about prior to the show too. So in about a week from now, I'll let you guys know on Twitter what it is that we're going to be watching, so you can prep yourself and come and join us. Okay, so Nick, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
A lot of fun, and show and tell, especially, definitely. No end.
Next time, I'll have something even better.
Yes.
There we go. You need an IMAX screen for it. Better than that. Big shout out to Pete in the chat as well for sharing those pictures, which were great. The Wicker Man's.
Brilliant. Thanks, Pete.
Oh, yeah.
And Lucifer, good to be back on the horror road with you again, mate.
Absolutely. Maybe one day we'll get back on the Video Nasty road as well.
We do need to do that. We need to get back on that Video Nasty road. I mean,
absolutely.
I know Pete and a few of you folk have waited for ages for us to get back on to doing the one for the filming, even just for because we are doing we were talking about Bloody Moon, weren't we? So
yeah, we were.
will segue nicely into a Jess Franco at some point.
Exactly.
Yeah, I need a lot of Lefroy for that. So that's us then. Thanks everybody.
Thanks, guys.
And please, if you haven't liked the three of you that are still here, like it. Tell all your friends to join us. Good night.
God bless you. Cheers.